So back in April I released a video commemorating the 50th anniversary of the Apollo 13 mission. And I asked where the Silver Snoopy 50th anniversary watch was. Well worth checking out, I'll leave a link. And just as the mission was known as a successful failure, so was my video in terms of guessing how the watch would be presented by Omega. Well, it's out now, so let's see what we think. I'm Andy and welcome to the English Watch. Now this channel is about me and my developing obsession with watches, with the occasional slurp of tea if I remember to make one. There's so much great content out there, so it means a lot to me that you guys find these videos informative and enjoyable. Please check out my Instagram feed and website, theenglishwatch.com, and give this one a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Now the Silver Snoopy 50th anniversary watch was referenced by Omega on its Instagram feed back in April and named the 5th of October 2020 as launch date. This date would be aligned to the 50th anniversary of Omega being awarded the Silver Snoopy Award by astronaut Thomas Stafford rather than the actual Apollo 13 mission that took place months before. I think this was a great move by Omega on two counts. Firstly, to commemorate their success and contribution to the safe return of Jim, Fred and Jack, who relied on their Omega Speedmasters as backup to the flight timing gear they were unable to power up for the historic 14-second engine burn. And secondly, to allow the prior special edition Speedmasters of the Apollo 11 50th anniversary and the Ed White 3-to-1 edition to breathe. I don't think there's anyone out there who doesn't have an opinion on the number of special edition Speedmasters Omega's produced over the years. Bring it on is what I say. Well, it's here now, so what do we think? Well, on first acquaintance, I was disappointed. I don't know why, I don't know what I thought I would see, but disappointment was the first emotion that grabbed me. I even wrote a few comments on the Facebook groups to the fact, mainly around the cost and value relative to the Apollo 11, that I still adore. But time heals, and I've waited before releasing this video to ensure that I've had time to soak on the merits and design elements that are often missed on first sight. Now, as only a select few have actually had hands on this watch, I've used stock images from Omega and used some excerpts from the excellent Watch Advisor channel where Alexandra is able to talk to Gregory Kisling, Head of Product Management at Omega. Now there's a few interesting elements that I've called out, plus we get to really good unboxing that's worth seeing. Go check that one out, after you've watched this one obviously. Now the 2015 version was almost a flawless execution of a special edition, and the black and white colour scheme was perfectly matched to Snoopy and the cartoon strip. In complete contrast to the more subtle appearance of Snoopy on the 2003 model, neither of which were anniversary models curiously. Now it won't have missed your attention that the 2015 watch was a slow burn and then a runaway investment level watch, with a limited supply of 1,970 pieces having a massive effect on its desirability. Now without this limit, who knows what success this watch would have seen? I guess we'll find out over the course of the next decade and a half with a limited production but not limited number watch. Maybe it will go the same way as the Apollo 8 from 2018, a hugely underrated piece that can now be had at a discount. Anyway, anniversaries. Now when we say 50th, it's normally associated with gold. Silver, well, that's for 25 years, so it was no surprise for the Apollo 11 to have a flash of gold, and I expected the Snoopy to have the same, albeit just a note somewhere to denote the number of years. I mean, who wouldn't want a moonshine gold Woodstock next to Snoopy in a spacesuit? Would have been an easy win. But what we have is a watch with two specific colour accents. Silver, unsurprisingly, and blue. Now it's the blue that's caused a lot of controversy and could be seen as a little cynical from Omega given the number of blue watches of late, and perhaps was the reason for my initial disappointment. Omega also have a few in the Speedmaster range, the latest of which from this year with the 2020 Olympic Games edition, but also an earlier release of the CK2998. But on balance, and if you know your NASA, blue is an obvious choice. Not only is blue referenced on the medallion on the back of the 2003 Silver Snoopy, but it's also NASA's core colour. But for me, having seen the spacesuit in the Omega Museum recently, the pieces fell into place, with the blue ceramic bezel and sub-registers matching the blue anodised attachments on the spacesuit. And dialing my brain into this helped me accept the watch as a more complete design study, even if it's not what Omega had in mind. Looking at the ceramic bezel, there's no superluminova, as on the Apollo 8. Instead, the laser-etched tachymeter numbers are filled with white enamel. There's also a nod to the 105 and early 145 style cases designed from the 1960s, with the dot over 90 returning for this edition, as would have been seen by the watches used by the Apollo astronauts. Omega have also acknowledged that the overall case is aligned to the model 105.012. Maintaining the current model's 42mm case, it's unclear what this means in absolute terms to today's professional case, but looking at the images, I'd say the crown is more prominent and maybe a design enhancement that we could see on the revised standard model in the coming months. One of the more annoying design traits of the current Speedmaster Professional is the tactility or lack of when winding the watch. I hope Omega will read all these refinements back into the new watch, including the dot over 90. We'll see. Moving on to the dial, Omega have used a solid sterling silver dial with AG925 engraved above the centre. Pure silver is much too soft to be used in jewellery, and so is combined with other metals to make a more durable alloy. Sterling silver is made up of 92.5% pure silver and mixed with 7.5% of other metals like copper, zinc and nickel. And this adds value and I imagine a little heft to the watch, and is a lovely touch, creating effectively a large silver medal. The blue sub-registers at 3 and 6 o'clock are blue PVD coated and laser etched with steel hands that I imagine are rhodium plated, with a separate stamped sub-dial at the 9 o'clock. This is enamelled and laser ablated to reveal the silver Snoopy emblem in the shape of the original pin, also in sterling silver. Now this is where Woodstock could have stolen the show with a flash of gold, reminding us that this is the 50th anniversary. What do you think of my rendering? Leave some comments if you think this would have worked. Otherwise we have applied hour markers and Omega marquee with matching blue minute, hour and chronograph seconds hand, as well as a blue hand for the constant seconds. Luminosity is a little down on the regular professional model with super luminova only applied to the outer edge of the hour markers. Now it's on the back of this watch that Omega have gone to town and arguably brings value to the watch on top of the silver dial. Unlike the previous two editions and the Apollo 11, Omega have done away with the decorated medallion to introduce some theatre, with animation of the Earth spinning with the constant seconds against the black lacquered disc, with eyes on the stars, written in quotations taken from the original Snoopy mission patch. In the foreground is a photorealistic far side of the moon created using a microstructure metallisation that evokes the famous Earthrise imagery taken by astronaut Bill Anders of Apollo 8 on the first trip around the dark side of the moon. Now there's an idea for a special edition. Starting the chronograph, we get the command service module fly into view, piloted by the intrepid Snoopy with his iconic flying helmet and scarf. Omega say that the CSM clears the Earth in 14 seconds to align with the engine burn, but it's not really clear and not as defined as on the 2015 edition. But it doesn't really matter. The arm is fabricated from silica glass and designed to be invisible to allow the attention to be focused purely on the CSM. The Naiad lock ring has a sapphire disc and a few engravings around the perimeter. No numbered edition like the first Omega in space, but reference the Apollo 13 mission in April 1970 and the Silver Snoopy Award subsequently issued on the 5th of October 1970. This watch uses calibre 3861 as used by the Apollo 11 and will be the calibre of choice going forward for future manual wind Speedmasters. The 3861 calibre is a coaxial master chronometer, and this is also referenced on the case back. This new calibre carries forward over 50% of the previous calibre 1861 parts, itself a derivative of the 861 and original 321 Lemania movement. So the basic architecture of the 321 movement remains and maintains its relevance in any Moonwatch. Interestingly, Omega have not used an alternative code for this calibre, as is the norm, and despite the obvious changes required to accommodate the spinning Earth and the CSM lolly stick. Being a master chronometer means bringing some useful upgrades over the 1861, including a coaxial escapement that's effectively amagnetic, hacking seconds finally, and an increase in accuracy. This is all under the METAS testing and certification process that goes above and beyond COSC for a fully tested and cased up watch, delivering 0 to 5 seconds per day accuracy. Looking at the strap, I was hoping for a flat link bracelet that would be included alongside the fabric strap as in the Apollo 11. And although the fetching blue strap perfectly complements the dial, I think Omega could and should have used a deployant clasp like the 2015 model. And for the price, a simple pin buckle is just not good enough in my opinion. On the plus side, the black leather liner has an embossed image of the mission trajectory with a waypoint denoting where the oxygen tank exploded on the way to the moon. Now finishing on a high, I'm quite taken by the presentation box. Omega showing Rolex how it's done again. I like the mission patch you can remove from the lid, the cartoon of Snoopy inside the lid, And look, it's Woodstock. The integrated travel case looks pretty cool, and I hope this will be a model for the replacement professional watch going forward rather than the large presentation box of today. And the way the loop has been integrated into the cushion is pretty cool. So summing up, do I like the watch more now that I've delved into and drawn conclusions to why it is how it is? Well, the answer is yes, I do. I think Omega may have overreached a little on the price at £8,250. Now that's nearly £1,000 more than the Apollo 8s of last year. A watch with arguably more reason for celebration, and limited with gold accents and a steel bracelet and replacement strap. But clearly the Beagle has produced a lot of excitement that I hope isn't just a feeding frenzy born from the highly desirable 2015 model. And that's why I'm going to take a wait and see approach. This will be in short supply for a year or so, and time will tell how much the market will bear. But all this talk of value and investment doesn't make me like the watch any less. I think the designers and engineers of Omega have done a great job with this watch, which is after all a niche within a niche of a watch with a dog on it. My spirits are fired more by the key refinements on this watch that I hope read forward into the replacement professional Moonwatch. A watch unchanged significantly for 50 years. Now there's something to look forward to. Now if you want to find out more about the Apollo 13 mission and how the Snoopy ball came to be, check out my previous video where I go into the whole story. Don't forget to give this one a thumbs up if you liked it. I guess you did if you watched it this far, and I highly recommend Moonwatch only for delving into Speedmaster lore. There's an Amazon link in the description. If you buy it through these links, you don't pay any more, but it will help the channel grow. Anyway, I'm Andy, this has been The English Watch. Hope you enjoyed this edition, take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now.